I am Doug Peterson, a retired forest ranger. This is the Olympic Wilderness, a place of majesty and silence. My heart sank, however, when a small, dark object plummeted from a towering Douglas fir tree right onto the Chinook Trail. That tiny bird, the national symbol's chick, carried a secret that would save its mother's life. But we were racing a looming shadow, a threat far greater than just gravity, a primal danger lurking just beyond the light. Instinct, decades of ranger training, took over. I reached out. A trembling lump of feathers hit my hands. I barely had time to close my fingers. It was an unmistakable bald eagle chick. So small, so fragile, no more than 2 weeks old, barely covered in downy fluff. It was shivering violently, shaking with a terror that went beyond the cold. It was squeaking a desperate, high-pitched, thin plea. I looked up. The giant, complex nest, built with dedication and skill high in the immense fur, was empty. Silence. A heavy, ominous silence. This was the chilling part. No adult eagle cries. No watchful parents circling above. Something was terribly wrong. This fall was no accident. The young one hadn't slipped. The sheer terror in its eyes told the story. This little creature was fleeing a disaster. It was escaping something deadly. The chick was hypothermic, suffering from shock, and clearly dehydrated. I knew I had to act immediately. The clock was running down on this tiny life. My mind was screaming at the overwhelming challenge. I quickly found my water canteen. I carefully dipped my finger, then dripped the water onto its tiny hooked beak. It instinctively opened its mouth. It gulped those few drops greedily. A spark of fight, a sign of life. I searched the ground nearby. I found an old fallen log, the bark peeling. I used my hunting knife, the one my father, a ranger before me, gave me to pry back the wood. Beneath it were pale beetle larvae, not an eagle's diet, but energy, survival. The chick devoured a dozen of them in seconds, the raw, primal hunger of a predator. It quieted, but its breathing was still shallow. I tucked the little eagle inside my heavy wool jacket, against my chest, sharing the warmth of my own body. My thoughts were dark. Mother eagles do not abandon their nest, not ever. The great symbol of our country does not simply walk away from its young. It means she was either gone or she was incapacitated. The weight of this wilderness, of this beautiful, deadly place, settled on my shoulders. I carried the chick, but I carried the fear that I was already too late. Stay with us. This little chick knew a secret that changed everything, a secret of survival. I walked toward my old Ford pickup, trying to rationalize, praying for a miracle. Then about 200 yards down the path, the silence was violently shattered. The chick suddenly began to scream, not the weak, pitiful cry for sustenance. This was different. This was a sharp, piercing alarm, a sound filled with genuine terror and extreme urgency. It thrashed and cried out with a newfound, terrifying strength. It was frantic. It was reacting to something I couldn't hear, something I had missed. I froze. I stood perfectly still. I listened with every fiber of my being. Wind in the pines, the rhythmic chirping of grasshoppers. And then I caught it, a faint, drawn-out shriek, high-pitched, agonizing, the unmistakable call of an adult bald eagle. It was a desperate call for help. The chick was directing me. It was leading me to its mother. The small, fleeing bird was now my navigator. I plunged off the trail, ignoring the tearing brush and the stinging nettles. The chick screamed in response to its mother's agonizing calls, which grew louder with every stride I took. 2 minutes later, I broke through the thicket. I stepped onto the asphalt of State Route 101, our Pacific Coast scenic byway. The scene froze me solid. It was a snapshot of national tragedy. There stood an ancient, rotting wooden power pole, a crumbling relic from an old abandoned logging operation. And there she was, the mother eagle. She was hanging upside down, tangled in a horrific noose of torn, derelict wires. Her powerful, magnificent wings beat the air in exhausted spasms. Her one free claw desperately grasped the pole. She was exhausted. She was suffering, the glorious symbol of our nation, defeated by human negligence. And then the deeper terror hit. I heard a sound, a low, guttural, territorial growl. I scanned the woods just beyond the shoulder of the highway. There it was, a large, dark, beautiful shadow. A cougar was crouched watching us from the trees. The mother eagle was trapped. The chick was exposed. The mother's desperation was not just from the wires. It was also from guarding her territory against a relentless predator she couldn't fight. I had to stand guard, protecting the chick and trying to deter the cougar. Knowing I was utterly helpless against the wires that bound her, I immediately called 911. This is an emergency. An adult bald eagle, our national symbol, is critically trapped on Route 101. We need the local volunteer fire department and an emergency line shut down immediately. But then came the wait. 30 minutes. 30 agonizing minutes. The mother eagle's cries grew fainter, weakening with every passing second. The cougar remained, that looming shadow of death, waiting patiently for the injured bird to succumb. My heart was pounding out of my chest, fueled by adrenaline and terror, and the crushing inability to act. I was a ranger, a man of action, and I could do nothing but wait. The chick, still tucked inside my jacket, whimpered now, sensing its mother's fading strength. I recalled a detail. Earlier, an early morning hiker had passed me on the Chinook Trail. He mentioned seeing a great eagle struggling just near the road at dawn. At the time, I paid it no mind, but now it hit me. The mother had been alive and fighting for hours. The fear in the chick's eyes, the flight from the nest, it wasn't just neglect. She was in a desperate struggle to protect her home. This quiet detail gave me a surge of focus. The mother was a fighter. We had to fight for her. Finally, the siren, the blare of the horn, the red and white truck of the Olympic Volunteer Fire Department screeched to a halt on the shoulder. Two figures emerged, Captain Miller, the seasoned veteran, and his young partner, Tommy. They were neighbors. They were our community. They were American heroes running toward a crisis. I rushed to them, holding the chick. I spoke rapidly. At least 3 hours, Captain. She's fading, and we have a cougar watching us from the tree line. Captain Miller was calm, utterly, reliably calm. His voice, steady and authoritative, was exactly what we needed. Tommy, insulated gear, high-reach ladder. Doug, keep the animal on the defensive while we work. The ladder hissed and cranked, slowly rising toward the trapped mother. The power company had confirmed the line was dead, but the wires themselves were the razor-sharp trap. Captain Miller, moving with the economy of a man who had done this 1,000 times, climbed methodically, his thick rubber gloves, his vital shield. He reached her. The mother eagle, terrified, reacted with a final, primal burst of energy. She thrashed wildly, trying to strike his helmet, her claws catching air. Miller paused. He looked her directly in the eye. He spoke, not as a rescuer, but as a comforter, a communication of the heart. Quiet, girl. I'm Doug Miller. I'm a veteran, and I'm a neighbor. I will not hurt you. I'm here to free the symbol of our nation. He started the agonizing process of untangling the metal strands. Then a sudden, horrible moment. Disaster. The mother eagle made a sudden, desperate lunge for freedom. Her one good foot slipped from the pole. She swung out, dangling only by the injured, trapped limb, hanging at an impossible, agonizing angle. The whole world stopped. My heart stopped. Captain Miller, without hesitation, dropped his tool. He ignored the danger. He ignored the sharp beak aimed at his face. He instinctively grabbed her body with his free, gloved hand. He held her weight, defying gravity and fear, preventing the fatal, sickening plunge that would have broken her wings and her spirit. He held her there, suspended, dangling. He continued to work the wires with his one free hand, his voice a low, constant rumble of reassurance. Hold still, girl. Hold still. You're going home. The wires resisted, digging deeper, but Miller's resolve was stronger. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, with a small metallic snap, the foot came free. Captain Miller tucked the exhausted eagle tightly to his insulated chest. He began the slow, agonizing descent. The mother eagle was defeated, completely spent. On the ground, I saw the true horror. A deep, bleeding, ragged laceration on her right leg. The skin was shredded, but miraculously, no fracture. I quickly disinfected and bandaged the wound using the fire department's heavy-duty kit. And then came the moment of grace, the moment that justified every risk, every second of fear. I gently lifted the whimpering chick from my jacket and placed it on the grass next to the mother. The mother eagle, exhausted, eyes cloudy from dehydration and suffering, immediately lifted her majestic white head. She saw her baby, and from the depths of her pain, she made a sound. Not a cry, not a shriek. It was a soft, low, continuous purr of ultimate relief and absolute love. A sound of pure maternal devotion. The chick cried back. It wobbled on its weak legs, falling, getting up, its little body driven by instinct. It reached its mother. It didn't hesitate. It burrowed deep beneath her enormous wing, bearing its small beak into the warmth of her chest. The circle was complete. The whole crew was silent. Miller, Tommy, me. We stood together. This was pure humanity witnessed. Captain Miller broke the silence. We get them to Dr. Vance. The John Muir Avian Center is the only place for this kind of healing. They are sacred cargo now. At the center, Dr. Eleanor Vance, a woman whose gentle hands have saved countless creatures, took charge. She was professional, kind, and immediately saw the severity of the wound. She praised our fieldwork. She gave a cautious prognosis. 6 to 7 weeks for complete healing. The tendon damage is severe, but her spirit is unbroken. A week later, I visited. Dr. Vance led me to the large enclosure. The mother was resting, the chick was noticeably stronger. As I approached the wire, the mother eagle stopped grooming. She turned her majestic white head. She stared straight into my eyes. I held my breath. I felt every agonizing moment of the rescue in that gaze. It was a clear, unambiguous recognition. It was gratitude. It was an acknowledgement of a shared, terrifying experience. I spoke softly, my voice catching. You're safe, girl. You're healing. Dr. Vance smiled. She knows you, Ranger Peterson. That bond is strong. I made my vow. I'll be here, girl, I promise. When you fly free, I'll be here. That look, that unspoken bond, it was the silent personal contract that anchored my hope for the next 7 weeks. The final ascent, the symbol of freedom, is ready. Don't miss this moment. 7 weeks. It felt like 7 years. Every morning I woke up thinking of her. I checked my phone daily, then the call. Dr. Vance, Doug, they are ready. The wound is completely healed, and the little one is strong. Time to go home. My heart soared. The day was perfect. Clear, crisp, blue. I drove the carrying crate, my sacred cargo, back to the Olympic wilderness, back to the Chinook Trail, back to the enormous Douglas fir that housed their nest. The circle was about to close. Dr. Vance and I placed the crate down on the thick moss and slowly, reverently opened the door. The mother eagle emerged first. She moved slowly, deliberately. She tested her healed foot. She was magnificent. She stretched her enormous wingspan, over 7 feet wide, testing the power she had nearly lost. She was no longer a victim. She was a warrior. She was the symbol of freedom, ready to reclaim her sky. The chick followed. He was now a robust juvenile, covered in healthy, protective, dark plumage. He looked around, surveying the home he had nearly died in. The mother turned her head. She looked at me one last time. It was the same intense, knowing gaze from the clinic, only now it was amplified by the vastness of the forest. It wasn't just gratitude. It was an eternal, silent salute from one spirit to another, a bond forged in crisis. Then her moment came, the moment of release. She spread her wings wide, beating them with a raw, powerful force that stirred the air around us. She launched herself skyward, a clean, beautiful, perfect flight. She gained altitude with every single stroke, climbing high above the fir, a triumphant, glorious ascent. The young eagle tried to follow, his first true flight. It was awkward, wobbly, but powered by instinct and the sheer will of freedom, he made it. He landed successfully on a low, strong branch of the Douglas fir. The mother eagle circled once, a glorious, free arc against the brilliant blue sky. She landed next to her son. She nudged him gently with her beak, a proud, approving gesture. I stood there, watching them climb the massive tree, branch by branch, until they reached the huge, safe nest high above. And then she gave us her final word. The mother eagle circled once, a glorious, free arc against the brilliant blue sky. She landed next to her son. She nudged him gently with her beak, a proud, approving gesture. I stood there, watching them climb the massive tree, branch by branch, until they reached the huge, safe nest high above. And then she gave us her final word. I just stood there, silent, my vision blurred, tears streaming down my face. That was my speechless moment. No words could describe the feeling of seeing our national symbol, saved by community and compassion, fly home. It wasn't just a rescue, it was hope taking flight. It was a reminder that the best of America still thrives in the hearts of its people and the wildness of its land. That day, the youngest eagle on the Chinook Trail showed us the true meaning of courage, and the heroic Captain Miller, the volunteer firefighters, and Dr. Vance reminded us of the profound power of community, faith, and responsibility. We are all guardians of this precious, beautiful American land. If this story of hope, community, and heroism, and the beautiful spirit of a mother eagle touched your heart, please let me know your thoughts and share your favorite moment in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our next chapter in the Olympic Wilderness series. Thank you for watching. See you next time.